Mumbai, a city where rickshaws share the road with luxury four-wheel drives, evidence of the two worlds that coexist in India. New technology and economic growth have put development here on the fast track. But what's the impact of this so-called progress on public health? Stay with us as we investigate. Coming up, a pharmaceutical powerhouse goes head-to-head with the Indian government. Drug maker Novartis has taken its appeal for more conventional patent laws all the way to the Supreme Court in what's being billed as a game-changing moment for global health. Next, we investigate the implications of India's title as the rent-to-womb capital of the world. Commercial surrogacy is often described as a win-win for infertile couples and poor rural women, but with 2-for-1 deals and selective abortions now commonplace, how safe is this multi-million-dollar industry? And finally, when daycare has a night shift, creches that are open 24/7 are proving a hit for parents who are too busy to put their children to bed. We ask why these services are needed and whether there's any long-term effects of growing up in a home away from home. India is often described as the pharmacy of the developing world, and just have a look around me, it's no surprise why. Dozens of wholesale pharmacies selling all types of drugs, whether it be for HIV, AIDS or malaria. Most of them are not branded, in fact most are generics, but one big pharma is fighting back. Swiss-based Novartis is challenging the Indian government's patent law in what's being described as a make or break deal for the generic drug industry and a potential blow to the developing world.
Drop the case, drop the case.
No Atis, drop the case.
This is but a dress rehearsal for the upcoming court hearing. Among the protesters, patients who owe their lives to generic medication, calling on pharmaceutical giant Novartis to drop its case against the Indian government.
The battle between patients and pharma companies is intensifying in India. The problem really is they're trying to cut off the supply of generic medicines from India so that their monopolies can continue.
This is how a patent works. A drug company develops a new medicine and is rewarded with a patent which stops other producers from copying their drug for 20 years, allowing them to set the price without competition. When the patent ends, other generic producers can enter the market, and before long, the price drops. But Novartis has been accused of evergreening, which is making a small change to an existing drug and asking for a new patent, an accusation the company denies.
I want to coin a new word, ever-delaying of patents, not evergreening.
Novartis is suing the Indian government for denying a patent for its drug Gleevec, a treatment for patients with a deadly form of leukemia. The company says the medicine is a breakthrough, even though the principal compound was discovered nearly 20 years ago.
Without patents, there will be no innovation in new medicines. Without that, there will be no generics later on in any case. So there's a direct correlation between all this, but we want clarity.
Generic companies like Natco are the reason behind India's status as the pharmacy of the poor. At factories like this, they produce copies of branded medication en masse at a fraction of the cost. An export market worth 8 billion euros per year, primarily to developing countries. Natco also happens to produce VNAT, a generic version of Novartis' cancer drug, with a cost around 10 times less than the original version.
Each and every drug does not qualify for a grant of a patent. We'll have to see on so many fronts and so many angles. It should be a new product, new molecule, new innovation, new invention.
India's Supreme Court will now have the final say. Judges will have to interpret India's Patent Act, which only came into effect in 2005 following international pressure. In it, however, a section that excludes a new patent for minor modifications to existing medicines. If Novartis wins, it would set a precedent for the entire pharmaceutical industry, potentially upending the whole generic supply chain.
India has and shall always respect the treaties that it has entered into, but do what is correct, what is in public interest. Thank you.
The public interest, according to this cancer association, is obvious. Without the generic version of Gleevec, Siddhesh Telikar's leukemia would have most likely taken his life.
How are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine.
VNAT tablet.
Here, Siddhesh receives VNAT for free. He can't even afford to pay for the generic version, which costs €175 per month. The branded drug is closer to €2,000.
In India, basically, we are poor people. Poor in the sense we are middle class people. So we cannot afford that much of money for every month. So it is really difficult for us to buy such kind of medicines.
Almost all of the patients at the Association's Rehabilitation Centre rely on generic medication to survive. A reminder that this case has implications well beyond one drug, one patient and one patent.
Often described as having a female face, and here in India 1 out of 3 women can't read or write. But in recent years, commercial surrogacy has emerged as a viable escape, and now the business of renting out your womb has developed into a €350 million industry. But the economics of the business seems to be moving faster than our understanding of its implications, and certain companies are even offering 2-for-1 surrogacy deals by implanting embryos in multiple women to increase the chance of success.
In this fertility clinic, booming business means constant chaotic expansion. It's a source of amusement for the clients, but for Dr. Bakshi, it is above all a way to increase profits.
This is going to be the semen collection room.
Dr. Bakshi is a surrogacy specialist. She offers all her clients a catalogue of surrogate mothers in the area, a list of poor Indian women who are willing to rent their wombs to childless couples for 9 months.
Commercial surrogacy is allowed here, and the cost of a surrogacy cycle with a success rate which is better than, I won't say even equal, which is better than US. What else can you ask for? Why not India?
Indeed, why not, when there are so few restrictions? Dr. Bakshi offers her customers the chance to use several surrogate mothers, each of whom can be implanted with up to 5 embryos to increase the chances of success. All this for only €20,000, nearly 5 times cheaper than in most other parts of the world. Rekha is the surrogate mother for an Australian couple. If the birth goes well, she'll be paid €2,000.
I have a problem because I have children to feed, and we don't earn enough, and my husband is drunk all the time.
But activists are opposed to what they call a business with no regulations.
We don't have a legal framework on surrogacy. We just have ICMR guidelines, and those guidelines has never ever been monitored. So whosoever, the doctor or the clinic, is not maintaining the accuracy of the guidelines has not ever been caught. They're simply exploiting poor women.
For the duration of their pregnancies, the surrogate mothers are required to stay in an apartment specially rented by the clinic.
That's where I live. I sleep here, in this room.
Sumita lives here with 5 other women, all of whom are surrogate mothers. The women are placed under strict medical supervision and are under virtual house arrest for the duration of their pregnancies.
The doctor told me the couple was from abroad. She didn't tell us we'd have to live here for 9 months. The doctor organised everything.
In just over 2 years, the tourism fertility industry in India has grown by more than 50%.
Behind me lies another side to India: audacious, successful, flamboyant. This is the home of the richest man in the country and the most expensive house in the world, valued at $1 billion. 27 levels, 600 staff, 3 helipads. India's emerging economy has seen the rich get richer and the middle class aspire to unprecedented heights. But with these goals comes hard work, demanding deadlines and a schedule that doesn't always allow time for family. But that's where 24-hour creches are stepping in, providing care, as one website says, anytime to anytime, any day to every day. We went to visit one of these creches and the children who treat it like home.
A routine that doesn't get easier, but one that's endured with a smile. Before work, Abhilasha Sharma leaves her 1-year-old daughter at creche. Esperanza is a new type of childcare, one that's open 24 hours.
We don't have any relatives or anybody to take care of the baby, and my baby is too young to stay alone. So this is a blessing for us that they have a night care as well.
Here, her daughter Tanishka is well looked after. Her minder is putting as much emphasis on her health as her well-being. These 4 walls are just like a second home, where she eats, plays, has a bath and sleeps over once a week. Creches like this are sprouting up across India, from Hyderabad to Bangalore to New Delhi.
Drastic increase in the IT companies nowadays in India, and the people who are working with most of the information technology companies, they are working on the US or the UK based shifts, and that's what they need the 24-hour centers.
Yeah, just wanted to know, can you tell me in which room Dhruv is, because I can't find him in any of the cameras?
Sarala Bhushan works for an IT company. Her son Dhruv spends between 12 to 18 hours each day at Esperanza. But as you might expect in an infotech city like Hyderabad, the 5-year-old's only a click away.
I can see what's happening there and what he's doing. I won't be able to miss him that much. I mean, whenever I miss, I just plug in and see, okay, what's his doing kind. So I'll be able to connect to him more.
Childcare is relatively new to India. Not only has there been an IT boom, but more women are entering the workforce. Females now make up more than 1/3 of the software industry, leaving no choice but to outsource some of the parenting. Research is sparse on the long-term effect of extended daycare, but there is one way to minimise the impact.
The single factor that makes the difference for a child's normal development for the future is the child's relationship with the parent. So irrespective of whether your child spends time in daycare or not, what seems to matter is the kind of relationship you have with the child. So for that to happen, obviously you have to spend some time with your child.
But sometimes it's the parents who need time away from their children. This night creche is tucked away in a chic neighbourhood of Mumbai. Its founder, a psychologist who decided to offer an extra service to her clients.
I've been working with couples and doing therapy with them for several years now. Well, one of the things I realized that was happening with them is that they weren't getting enough time together. I figured if there was a place where we could take care of their children, especially on weekend nights, they might find more time with each other.
Before sleeping, what do? Brush. We brush.
Up until now, the creche has only been open until 2 a.m, but due to pressure from clients, Mindcraft will offer a 24-hour service from next month. A safe haven for children whose parents are too busy to put them to bed.
However you look at it, India is a country on the move, rapidly adjusting to its new role on the world stage. And many of the decisions made here will have implications well beyond its borders and shape how long before India is considered a developed nation, a title its people aspire to. That brings us to the end of this week's special edition of Health from Mumbai. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you, as always, next time.